Test. Test.
This is a test.
Do you remember Test, the wrestler?
I remember Test the wrestler.
Test in the court case. Do you remember that? He's dead now.
Great.
He is though. He is. He actually is. He's been dead a very, very long time.
Greetings, guys. It's Team Clocked. We're back.
Stop saying we're back.
Oh, but we are.
Stop saying we're back.
But we've been gone
When was the last
again.
time we did a video? July.
That's all right.
Well, considering our track record the last couple of years, mate, like that's canny good.
Well, okay.
They haven't said that I haven't ended this one yet, so let's see how long it takes.
Well,
right, we're back in a new studio.
Well,
so
actually, it's well, this is now technically our third studio we've used.
Well, if you're counting,
fourth if you include the Drunk Loch Lomond video that you'll never see.
that will surface.
I think it
one
should.
day
I think
it
it
will
should.
surface.
I think it should.
If we do like a Patreon, that should be like the top tier.
Yes.
You get access to that
Yes.
video. Yeah. So
Anyway, we're Team Clocked. I'm Graeme. He's Martin.
hi.
And we decided to come together and we're going to talk about some video games. But we're going to talk about video games for a quite important reason.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of our Gameblast series. So this channel was originally started because we wanted to raise some awareness and kind of drum up a bit of interest in a charity called Special Effect, who were doing a 24-hour games marathon, which we took part in for a couple of years. And then for reasons like having children and everyone's busy, we had to take a couple of years off, but now we are back.
Yes.
We're going to be doing Gameblast in 2019, so we wanted to get together, have a bit of a chat about some video game bits and pieces, and maybe raise a bit of awareness about Special Effect while we're doing it. So,
Yeah.
topic number one.
Yes.
We're going to talk about our favourite games consoles
Yeah.
of all time.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to throw it over to you to start.
Oh, I'm starting. Okay.
Can we just discuss the Mario onesie as well?
Yeah, Mario. Well, if I haven't said that, you've got your Sonic hoodie.
I have.
This
This is apt, isn't it, Mario?
I was going to wear the hoodie anyway.
Oh, well.
And I thought, well, it might look a bit weird if you're just wearing normal cover that isn't game related, and then I'm going like level 50 with like a onesie, Mario onesie. So the fact that you brought that is just great minds think alike.
Cool.
So I'm glad we're representing two probably the most iconic characters in video games.
It's like the console war in 2018.
Yeah, all the PC people are going off it probably, but that's fine. You know what I mean? We can't please everyone. So. Are we doing a list here? Are we just discussing them? Or what's the crap?
I came up with a top three, so I don't know if we want to do it in terms of counting it down from 3 to 1, or if we just want to have a bit of a chat about the consoles.
Well, I've probably got like a top 3 if you want a top 3.
All right, then. Well, we'll do it. You do your third, and I'll do my third, and then 2, 2, 1, 1.
3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1.
Unless there's overlap, because surely within 6 choices, we want to have the same pick for at least one. At least I guess.
But we probably will, considering we've had the same consoles for
that's true.
ever since I've known you.
Yeah.
Like there's not going to be much variation. To be honest with you.
But maybe
and I've got a sneaking suspicion Nintendo might lose out in this video.
Yeah, somewhat. Well, we weren't Nintendo kids, were we?
No, we weren't. We are from Europe, so Nintendo was kind of not around. Well, it was, but
Sega was always the big thing.
We're just spoil the list. Well, spoil the list.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, so who's starting? Me.
You're starting. Give us number 3.
Right. Okay. So for me, number 3 is the PlayStation 2.
Welcome to the third place.
PlayStation 2! The third place!
Now PlayStation 2. I thought about it. PlayStation 2 didn't even make my top 3.
Oh, really?
No,
Okay.
didn't
Well,
like it.
here's why I think PlayStation 2 is in there, at least in the list. It's at the bottom, but never mind. The reason why, ironically, I don't think it's actually to do with the games itself. Don't get us wrong. There were some phenomenal games that came out for the PlayStation 2. For me, it's more the experience I had with that console.
Yeah.
If you think the time it came out, 2001.
Yeah.
So we were just leaving school, And there was a big hype with us because we pre-ordered the PlayStation 2.
Well, funnily enough, when I was going to put PlayStation 2 on my list, that was the thing that came to mind. Like the hype was, we are going to secure your pre-order, and then we
got that special book. Remember the special blue booklet that came out only for people who pre-ordered?
Yeah.
Like, and I remember that being super special. Like, you know, having that would just cemented the fact that we were going to be one of the first people to own a PlayStation 2. Which was awesome.
It was.
But then so I think it's more like the social aspects of having the PlayStation 2 which sort of cling to me more than anything.
Yeah.
For example, on the road to getting the PlayStation 2, like me and you, like going to Comet to look at all the games before it came out, and it's like, right, let's look at all the games that are coming out. There was like 6.
There wasn't it? Yeah,
there was like 6 games or something.
Fantavision and
Fantavision, Tekken Tag Tournament.
Tekken Tag was good though,
which is great.
It was good.
So FIFA 2001. Yeah, I remember getting that on Christmas Day on my PlayStation. So
you hate football.
Ironically, I got FIFA 2001 and Tekken Tag Tournament were 2 games that I got with it.
I can't remember I got Tekken Tag. I know I got that. I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah. So from then on, I then just remember like shortly after that, just when we started, like more games started coming out, and there was just like a huge sort of like what was that skiing? What
SSX? Tremendous game.
Which was also awesome.
The reboot that they did a few years ago, not so good, but the original one was awesome.
The original one was really good. So the PlayStation 2 also sort of like introduced us to loads of like other titles. I mean, if you think Final Fantasy wise, Final Fantasy 10 came out, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. So and when that came out, I mean, obviously this is when we're going to college.
Yeah.
So like the early college days, especially with the PlayStation 2, was awesome for us because loads of cool games came out in the year of 2001.
Yeah.
You can see Metal Gear Solid came out, Final Fantasy 10 came out. No, Final Fantasy 10 was later, wasn't it?
Final Fantasy 10 was PS2.
Yeah, it was 2002, 2003.
Oh yeah.
And God of War.
God of War was so good.
And that was later on. To be fair, that was later on in the PlayStation 2 cycle.
Well, it was
2005.
The back end.
2005. Yeah. I mean, a year after that, the Xbox 360 came out. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the PlayStation 3.
Yes.
So yeah, that was quite late in the cycle, but we had just awesome experiences. And me and you playing Tekken Tag Tournament was one of the first really good memories that I had. It was like just how awesome the battles we had on Tekken Tag.
It wasn't just that. It was that. Hang on, which one was it? Now was it Tekken 3 or Tekken Tag that had that beach ball game?
No, Tekken 3.
That was that. Oh, Tekken Tag didn't
Tag
have the
ball.
ball.
Did all the we had the ball.
Yeah.
With all the parries.
Well, yeah, me and you.
Parry, defending. Like games were going for 10 minutes.
It was always. You was Paul Phoenix.
Yeah.
I was Warang, however you want to pronounce it, and it was just reversals all the time.
I know. But then you have, what else did you have? Grand Theft Auto.
Well, yeah, that's where.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
Which changed everything.
Which was great, and then I remember the midnight launch of San Andreas. Getting San Andreas was an amazing experience for me. All the wrestling games, the WWE games back then,
they
absolutely adored. They were phenomenal.
They were.
So it was a huge game changer for games in general, which is great. But the reason why it was up there is because of the social aspect of it. I've got loads of fond memories of being a teenager and all of us playing these really cool games, and that's kind of why it's up there, because it just came out at a really, really good time for us, because we were kind of coming of age and things were happening with us, and we were going to college and things, and the PlayStation 2 was always there when we needed it.
Yeah, I know.
Especially when you're going through a teenager, you're going through like pretty strange times, difficult times, and it's like in awesome times, and for me it was always good to have that there when I needed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why PlayStation 2 is in my top 3.
Cool, I like it. My number 3 is also a PlayStation.
I know what it's going to be.
Which one?
Well, I was going to say the PlayStation 1.
It is the PlayStation 1.
Yes!
Would you rather be at home shooting a bazooka or watching a chick flick? Chick flick, bazooka. Chick flick, bazooka.
Let me in, Brad.
Who's that?
Let me in. Brad.
I don't know.
Brad.
Right,
yes.
So there's reasons. So I was torn between whether it would be PS1 or PS2, and what it came down to ultimately for me was, I remember the PlayStation 1 so fondly because it was this astronomical leap in terms of quality over what we had before.
Oh yeah.
So I went from the 16-bit generation and I missed. Now hang on, did the PlayStation came out around the same time as the Saturn?
Yeah, well, it was that was the
It was like
infamous
1995.
E3 thing, as it was Saturn and it was PlayStation
Yeah.
the same year, but PlayStation was £100.
That was it. Yeah, $2.99.
$2.99, and then the guy just walks off.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I went from having the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, if you're in America, to having the PlayStation 1, and it was that absolutely phenomenal leap in everything about a video game. The graphical quality, the sound quality,
Yeah.
the way it jumped from 16-bit to 32-bit. I remember the year that I got it, and the Christmas Eve before I got it, and I remember packing up the Mega Drive, knowing that I was going to be getting this new thing, and just it started this new love of video games that I had. So yeah, it was all about that massive leap up from the 16-bit generation to the 32-bit generation, and the quality of games that came with it. It wasn't just about the graphical fidelity. I mean, to be fair, PlayStation 1 hasn't particularly aged that well now if you go back and look at the games.
It hasn't.
Some of the games are horrendous looking, but at the time it was like, this is the most realistic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it also, PlayStation 1 introduced us to new types of games, things that I would end up loving for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So for example, I hadn't really played RPGs prior to getting the PlayStation 1, and the year I got the PlayStation, I got Final Fantasy VII. Now, to be fair, I wasn't even going to get it. I remember reading magazines prior to the game coming out and prior to getting the PlayStation, where it was talking about this revolutionary new RPG, and I was like, I don't really play these sorts of games. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was possibly my brother who convinced us to get it on the basis of nothing, because he'd not played these games either. Got it, and that just started something. It just started this love of role-playing games, which I've now taken and loved for the past 20 odd years.
Yeah.
But it was like going back to what you said about some of the games, the iconic games that came with it. So you came up with Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
The original Metal Gear Solid. I remember the hype surrounding that game before it was released, and I remember going down to Blockbuster Video on release day with Phil, who's one of our other friends who's in Team Clock, and we drove down to Blockbuster Videos by his dad, picked up this game, and I just came home and played it. And I was like, it was a new benchmark for what video games could be for me, and that was what the PlayStation 1 gave, because you had other consoles, but they weren't doing it nearly as well as the PlayStation did. You had things like, Broken Sword, little games that I adored so much.
Well, the PlayStation it seemed a bit of a cowboy sort of venture as well, because like CDs were that cheap to imprint games onto compared to cartridge, which is the infamous thing between Nintendo and Sony, is that Nintendo games were historically always more expensive, and to be fair, they're still more expensive to this day because it costs more to put the games on a cartridge as opposed to a CD.
Yeah.
So because of that, the PlayStation were just basically greenlit all these stupid little projects by all these teams where 99% of them don't even exist anymore.
No.
They're dead. These are dead companies, and you've got stupid probably Croc.
Mate, Croc was good.
I know, but think about it.
Well, who was it who made that? Was that Crystal Dynamics?
Oh, I don't know, it was Crystal Dynamics.
Might have been Eidos.
But also think of these young video game developers who basically were getting shunned by every other company in terms of getting the game funded. And PlayStation just, you know what? Yeah, crack on.
Yeah.
And then these ended up being like staples in the industry.
Well, yeah, that's...
Tomb Raider. Do you know what I mean? Like Tomb Raider. I'm not a big fan of Tomb Raider games, but I respect its legacy.
Oh yeah.
And I respect what it did. So think about little things like that. Like imagine if they wanted to go to another company like Nintendo or something like that, or some sort of PC publisher, and they went no.
Well, yeah.
And then you've got like PlayStation, like crack on. But then you've got like games like Die Hard Trilogy.
Oh.
And then the shoddy looking games, but how much fun!
Die Hard Trilogy is particularly shoddy looking.
It's terrible looking, but if you think, but it's so much fun, and the PlayStation really did give these developers so much scope and freedom, where we then, as the community, we were then able to have enough choice to be able to make our own legends.
Yeah.
And we weren't told you have to like this character, you have to like this game. I was like, well, no, screw that. This game is genuinely good. You're not telling us it's good. We will make it great.
Yeah.
And then now you've got like like see these iconic games. Like Metal Gear Solid, for example, do you know what I mean? If you think about that game in itself, like it had nothing, and then all of a sudden it's become like a legendary thing. You say go back 2 minutes, but like think of all the older games, like Twisted Metal.
Just know it was cool.
Which is so good.
Yeah.
What else we got? Like Bushido Blade, Tenchu,
Tekken.
Tekken
Star.
Tekken.
I had Tekken 2.
Yeah.
And Tekken 3.
Yeah.
I think for me as well, is like it was the audacity of Sony at the time. Because at the time, it was like, from an outside perspective, you think, why would you possibly get involved in that console battle? Because Nintendo and Sega had, well, they were the only two in the market, really, at that point. I mean, Atari was still releasing consoles, but it was all about Sega and it was all about Nintendo, and those two were fighting it out. And really, at that point, because they were so successful and their consoles were so popular, Sony really had no right to get involved in that battle. But
Not
they,
really.
but they just looked and they were like, this is, we're going to do something. They've put it out and look where it went. So yeah, PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1, yeah, that's fair dues. Right,
Number 2.
cool. So, my number 2,
Yes.
right? I've had to think long and hard about this one, right? My number 2 is the Sega Mega Drive.
The Mega World. With thousands of colors, 16-bit graphic technology, and 10-channel mega stereo sound. The most advanced video game system in the universe. Yes! Mega Drive from Sega.
It's my.
You thought it was going to be my number 1.
I was convinced it was going to be number 1.
No, number 2. So, Sega Mega Drive, okay, is the reason that I'm sitting here right now doing this video. Alright, Sega Mega Drive, 1991,
Yeah.
going into Children's World, which no longer exists anymore.
Neither do most of the high street shops that we used to go in.
Yeah, that's true. And seeing Sonic 1 being played on a little TV
Yeah.
in Children's World, and my heart just fell to it. I just fell to it.
Yeah.
Something clicked in my brain that I can't explain, and thought, this is what I want, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I can't explain why. It just happened. The Sega Mega Drive was the one that cemented my sort of future.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it played a huge part in sort of how I grew up and the people I hung out with and everything, really. So anyway, going to the console itself. So the reason why I got the Sega Mega Drive is because my dad thought it looked better than the Master System,
Which it did.
which it did.
And it was more powerful.
So I was determined I wanted to get the Master System. The Sega Master System was the console I was determined to get until my dad went, hold on a second, this one looks better.
Do you think he knew? Do you think he knew there was
might
a
have
graphical difference and it was more powerful?
He might have known. There might be something. I have to ask him.
You need to do it.
I'll ask him. Alright, so I remember just getting that console on Christmas Day with Sonic the Hedgehog, Fantasia, Super Monaco GP,
Super Monaco GP was so good.
Super WrestleMania,
That was class.
and Tasmania.
I never played it.
So I distinctly remember getting a lot of games that ended with IA. Fantasia, Tasmania, Super WrestleMania, and that's how I remember that list after all these years, because those are the 5 games I got on Christmas Day. So what happened then is, of course, I played a lot of these games. I played a lot of them by myself until I started like to get to know more people from school and things like that, and then we would sort of share stories in terms of like our experiences with certain games and things like that. Then Mortal Kombat came around. I remember embedding an obscene amount of hours into Mortal Kombat. I don't want to go too much into that because it is involving something, a topic we're going to do later.
Okay.
Alright, but yeah.
Cool.
So the Mega Drive stayed with me for a while. To this day I still have a Mega Drive and it still works.
Yeah,
And I've got all of my games, and I've got probably about 60 games, all boxed.
I didn't have nearly as many games as that.
A lot of games. I mean, I spent all my money on games. So any pocket money that I would get, I would go into Sunderland and I would buy second-hand Mega Drive games.
Where did you go for that though? I can't even
Top Shop
see.
in Park Lane.
I mustn't have known about this stuff because like I used to get maybe 2 or 3 games a year when I was that age because I didn't really get pocket money to buy games, so I was reliant on getting them for birthdays and
They
Christmas.
would sell these games for like £2-3 quid.
Oh, see, I wish I'd known about
So
that.
it was like, you know what I mean? So that's how it came to be. But the Mega Drive was just, I mean, the amount of games you would get, the iconic games, and then again you would go back to the whole thing we were saying about PlayStation, where they would have all these stupid random games that everyone would deem as terrible games that I think were absolutely phenomenal. A lot of what people talk about in terms of the Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis is the music, because obviously the chip in the console allowed this amazing music to come out of the games as well, and that's something that stays with me as well, as the music that came with these games. So I get very nostalgic when it comes to music. So when I hear these awesome tunes coming out of these random games, that the games kind of suck, but because the music is that good, it just stays with us.
You mean like the soundtrack to Streets of Rage 2?
Well, yeah. I mean, the soundtrack to Streets of Rage 2 is iconic.
Yeah.
You know, and even like Emerald Hill Zone, you know, when you put in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and it just boots up and then you press start and then it's just that song starts.
Yeah.
And it fills you with just so much happiness and joy, and it's so colourful and it looks phenomenal. Yeah. So the Mega Drive, I stuck with the Mega Drive right up until 1996, 1997.
Well, yeah,
I
would have, because like I say, I'm going back to what I said before, I remember boxing the Mega Drive up the night before I got the PlayStation. So yeah, I was still on PlayStation.
So, and the thing in the social aspect, I mean, the thing is, I didn't really play that. Trying to think of the years, I didn't really play that many games with anyone else on the Mega Drive. No. It wasn't really until, ironically, we were doing Gameblast.
Yeah,
I started playing actual couch multiplayer on the Mega Drive. But yeah, so Mega Drive is phenomenal, love it, absolutely great console. But I would say that the Mega Drive is number 2 because the social aspect wasn't really there, but for me experiencing this new media, it changed everything for me. So that's why I put it as number 2.
So I've got an interesting feeling, I know where this is going, because I've got a funny feeling here we're about to give possibly the same 2, just the other way around. So we'll stick with Mega Drive for a second, because Mega Drive's in my top 2.
Oh, okay, right, cool.
Right. Mega Drive is my number 1.
Ah!
For a couple of reasons.
So hang on, what was your number 2 again? You haven't said yet, have you?
No.
Right, okay.
We'll come back to my number 2, because I've got a feeling my number 2 is your number 1. I think.
Okay, right.
But yeah, Mega Drive was my number 1. Now, I'm not going to go back into the story about how I got the Mega Drive in the first place, because I discussed that on an old Team Talk video a long time ago. For me, it was all about, it had to go as number 1 for me, because that's basically where it all began. Like you said, the reason we're sat here talking about video games, for me, the Mega Drive started that. And it was all about, because I remember there was a whole thing before I got the Mega Drive as to which one I wanted. Did I want the Super Nintendo? Did I want the Mega Drive? And I distinctly remember 2 weeks before Christmas trying to change my mind about it. The year I got the Mega Drive, I tried to change my mind and get a Super Nintendo instead. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because I know the Super Nintendo is very popular, it has loads of games, but the Mega Drive was so good and it was so memorable. The games that I saw again the first year I got, I think it was like a Mega Games collection. It came with columns and...
Oh my god!
Super Italia 90.
Yeah.
And it was the aeroplane game.
Was it not?
No, helicopter game.
There's a strike.
No.
Helicopter game. Cobra Command?
No.
No, it was for the Mega CD.
I can't remember. But I got that, and I got Mega Games 2, and Mega Games 2 had Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, and something else. But the games were so iconic, and I think for me part of it was just being in that, because you were part of that console war. Even when we were kids, you were a part of it, because everyone was so passionate about the console that they had. So you were a die-hard Sega fan and supported Sega no matter what, and if that meant you were going to go out and buy your latest issue of Mean Machine Sega and read it cover to cover and get all the cheats and things, or whether it was whatever the Nintendo version was, you were so invested in it as a kid. And I'm exactly the same as you, so my brother and I both had Mega Drives, but we never played them together. So he played his games, I played my games. We didn't even loan each other games, because like we were that sort of brothers where, you know, we just fought all the time and never shared things. But when I started playing these couch games, so like when we used to play like Micro Machines, and games like that, and you think there's a bit of regret actually tinged on it, because it was like I missed out on that at the time, and that was probably so fun as a kid to play those games, but equally to experience it now is just stunning. Everything about the Mega Drive for me is what makes gaming the thing that I love as much as I love it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, what I could say, just echoes what you said. So I'm not going to kind of retread what you've already said. But yeah, Mega Drive for me was numero uno.
Nice. So I'm not going to go into mine because I'm really, really curious about what you think. Well, what's your number 2? Tell me what your number 2, because you're convinced it's the same as mine. My number 1.
Cool. Number 2, for me, Xbox 360.
Let me get in on this one. That might really give it goodbye, so
Not for me.
Oh, then I'm really curious.
Yeah.
I'm actually really curious.
Oh, okay.
So number 2 for me was the Xbox 360.
Okay. Oh well, yeah.
So I might as well do my 2 before you do.
Well, go on. Here's the thing. I'm curious about that because we've got such a huge history with the consoles that we've just talked about there. The Xbox 360 was kind of later on. I mean, the thing is, when you think about when we started playing the Xbox 360, obviously we're adults. Times are way different.
They are very
way different. When the 360 came out, things are completely different. We unfortunately have really dull, horrible adult things to take care of, whilst also trying to enjoy the limited time we've got with an Xbox 360. So, what makes Xbox 360 for you a console in your top 3?
So there's a couple of reasons behind it. I've talked about before how increasingly over the years video games have become this form of escapism.
Yeah.
And to your point, when I got the 360, which would have been probably 2006?
2006. I got mine September 2006.
So I got mine the Christmas that year.
It
So
was
we would have
Christmas
been
that year.
so we would have been 21 when we got those those Xbox 360s.
Yeah,
You would have
just shy of 22.
You would have just gone 22. Yeah. So we were adults at that point.
We were. I mean, yeah.
We were working, and we had all of these other things going on. And the 360, even back then, looking at it, was starting this thing of video games becoming an escape from ordinary life. Again, I could go back to things like the quality of the games, but what cemented 360 in the top 2 for me is because one of the most important things for me now in games, and it was effectively started by the 360, is the social aspect to it.
The online bit.
Not even just the online is a huge part of it, but the social aspect of it. The Xbox 360, for the first time, allowed me in my house and you in your house to talk over the internet while playing video games at the same time.
No, I love, right? Any PC gamers watching this right now, they'd be like, oh!
Yeah, we've never been part of the PC master.
We never have. Well, we were a little bit.
Kind of.
I had a
but
brief
not.
stint with PC games, but yeah, the
But
Xbox came
we
over
did.
and then now it's just a Blu-ray.
That's it. So for people like us who've always been predominantly console gamers, that was revolutionary. And I remember the day that I got the 360, me and you were playing Uno over Xbox Live on Christmas Day night.
Did we do that?
We did.
On Christmas Day night?
Christmas Day night. Because I remember I got...
That's awesome.
That Christmas I got Oblivion and Uno, and Christmas Day night, me and you played Uno.
That's amazing. I did not remember that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But that was the start. So even so, right from the outset, that was this social aspect to video gaming that ordinarily we would have only had if we were round someone's house or in the same place at the same time and able to play games. 360 created this whole new environment, this whole new world and ways in which to play video games. And as time went on, and as things like Xbox Live became more kind of popular and more stable, the services, because it's well known that the original Xbox Live service for Xbox was pants. But it was so refined for 360 that it meant it was so easy to do it, and it became this thing where, I mean, we talked about this not long ago. You and I used to sit up until 4 a.m. playing games on Fridays and Saturday nights. We would go out drinking until the early hours, come home and put like Gears of War or Call of Duty on or something.
We would play Gears of War drunk at like 3 a.m.
I'd love to go back and see how those play sessions worked.
Well, yeah, like, you know, we probably realistically play for like half an hour and then passed out or something, like thinking, oh, we're going to play it, and everyone's like, oh, screw this.
I remember at least once, and I don't even think it was tied to drinking, I think it was just because we were playing so late. I distinctly remember at least once fallen asleep with my headset on while playing video games. But it was, but then again, it just became this thing that evolved over time. So there was like huge stretches of time where I would play games like Call of Duty for 2.5 hours online every night, and that the social aspect of how important the social part of gaming is for us now. That's what kind of nailed it, because although PlayStation 1 was my number 3, PlayStation 2 and also PlayStation 4 could have been my number 2, but 360 is where it started.
It started a whole new thing for all of us, I think.
And that's why I'll never forget.
And it was more the online thing for me with 360. I mean, obviously the games were phenomenal. I had some great times with the 360. The games were great, but yeah, what really stands out with the 360 for me, I mean, it didn't reach the top 3, but it's very memorable purely because of its online aspect. Like, I remember getting it and thinking, it's remember the blades? The old dashboard with the blades.
The blade dashboard was cool.
That was, and I remember just that sticks with me for some reason, that dashboard, and thinking, I've never seen anything like this. And it's like, this is amazing. And it's like, hold on a minute, I can download demos.
I think,
and it's like, that was the thing, like, I can download a demo for this game and I don't even need to get a disc anymore. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And yeah,
I think one of the other things was it was the first experience into HD gaming.
Oh god, yeah.
So,
well, yeah.
When I got my 360 initially, I still had one of those really bad old, like, chunky CRT TVs.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a HD TV, and I remember the first time I tried to use it with the 360, I plugged it into this HD TV and I was running it, and I was sitting thinking, this game looks no better. I was like, it's just a bigger screen, but it doesn't look any better. And I think I remember back in the day there was this switch on the cable that went into the back of the 360 where you could flick it between standard def and high def. I remember flicking it and it clicking over to high def, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The quality. And again, looking back, it probably hasn't aged that well. I don't know how well I was playing Gears of War multiplayer at the time. I think Gears probably has aged reasonably, but just seeing that immediate click over from standard def to high def, stunning.
And you do remember it, don't you?
So never forget.
360 is great.
Come on. Oh, no, you're number 1.
So I'm just going to round this up. My number 1 is the PlayStation 1.
Oh, right.
Again, social aspect.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on too much into the PlayStation 1 because we've already talked about it quite a bit, but the social aspect of the PlayStation 1 was a huge thing for me. Like, bear in mind that the PlayStation 1 was kind of the console where, like, me and you started playing a lot of games together.
Oh yeah,
that was when we started hanging out, and then you've got there was like a ton of us that would hang out. It was like 4 of us. So it was me and you, Scott, and Pip, and our weekends were purely based on whose house can we crash to play games.
Yeah.
That was the goal. That our goal on a Saturday all day, on a Saturday afternoon, our goal was whose house can we coerce into getting into to play games together. That was it. And once we did that, that was a sword. That was a sword for the whole day, for the whole night. And then it's like, okay, cool. So, are you stopping over? Yeah. What we're gonna do? Play games.
Yeah.
Cool.
All the time.
That was it. There was nothing else we were gonna do. That was it. And I've got so many fond memories of having the PlayStation and playing these iconic games, and then again the whole RPG thing.
Yeah, that was.
Then when you were a role-playing game even was.
No, I don't.
I remember seeing the box art for Final Fantasy VII and thinking, what is this? It's got nothing on the front cover. I'm not interested. And it's now in my top 5 games of all time.
Yeah.
So
it just shows you.
And again, it was just so I've got so many nostalgic memories for the PlayStation 1. And it's just even though it wasn't the first, it was certainly for me the most important console in my life.
So there you have it, guys. Those are our top 3 consoles of all time. Just to clarify, we don't hate Nintendo in any way, shape, or form.
No, I feel like I've kind of shit on Nintendo there,
but we haven't though.
No, not at all, because I've got some amazing memories of the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube
and the Nintendo Switch.
Oh my god, the Switch!
Because,
no, it is. No, it is. Here's the thing with the Switch, right? I want to do a video just on the Switch.
Me too.
Because it means so much to us already. I've got so many cool stories about the Switch already. The Switch deserves its own video.
Okay,
so
well,
we'll leave that.
We'll put that one on.
Sorry, Nintendo fans.
Nintendo, we
just another one as well. I'm not going to embed any Nintendo footage onto this.
We'll get a copyright strike.
Because we get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
So yeah, no Nintendo. I might just put a picture on of Bushido Blade.
Anything like that.
Tenchu.
But yeah, so that's what we think. Guys, what do you think? What are your 3 favourite consoles of all time? Do you agree with our choices? It's interesting that of all the consoles that we've played, we had 2 of the same in the top 3.
Yeah.
But it'd be really interesting to know what you think. So leave us a comment below and let us know. As always, if you do like the content, hit the like, subscribe buttons. You can follow us on Twitter. We are @TeamClocked. You can find us on Facebook. We are @TeamClocked there as well. Is that right?
Facebook.com/TeamClocked.
That's the one. You can follow me on Twitter. I am GrimmyD1. You can follow him on Twitter. He is the Digital MB or Digital MB.
I can't remember.
You can't remember his one. We'll put a little bit of text here with his actual Twitter.
It'll be on. Just. It'd be down here. Yeah.
And as always, remember guys, these series of videos are all about Special Effect and Gameblast. We're going to be posting lots of content over the course of the coming weeks as we build up. And we'll see you all again for the next video. Cheers.
Thanks.